guys. Welcome to the Closing the Gap session. In this session, you're going to be learning about how to close your organization and bridge that gap between students and alumni by requiring an application and recruitment process. Our presenters are from Ithaca College. They are Sophia Cardinale, Annalise Clements, and Emily Lauren Shear. So give them a big hand.
Hey guys. So I'm
Public and Community Health sophomore at Ithaca College.
And I'm Annalise. I'm a first-year student at Ithaca College majoring in business management. Okay, so to start out, we're going to talk to you about why we went from an open to a closed organization. Or in other words, why we went from an organization that you can just walk in and join to an organization that has an application process. One reason we did this was to search for students throughout campus that would benefit our organization. We want to have a strong group of dedicated and motivated students. Also, we want students to represent our student body well. This refers to diversity, whether in majors, class years, race, gender, and etc. We want somebody who can really represent each part of our campus so we get a good feel of what we need to improve on. This purposefully is done to better our organization. Giving a more formal process to accepting students means that students that will apply are students who really want to be in an interview. They probably have a reason for wanting to be in the club. Now, another question is, how does this benefit students that are already in the organization? First off, students who were in the organization, this also forces our members to fully understand our mission and our goals so that we can communicate it outwards and to other people. As we learn more about our alumni relations, everyone gains a better sense of how important they are to our club and our school, and it gives everyone a greater appreciation for alumni of Ithaca College. Understanding our mission is very important to our club. It allows us to communicate our mission to other people, whether it be prospective students to the club or faculty and alumni. It is also very important to us that new members learn our mission before they join our club, which hasn't always been clear in the past. When I first came in, it was kind of broad. We didn't have a direct mission statement that really applied to us, and now we're having it more solidified so everybody knows really what our goals are. This also allows faculty and staff to recognize the true mission of our group and to see how influential and important we are to the student body as a whole. Another reason we wanted to do this was for recognition throughout campus. Some student recognition we wanted to increase was through our Student Government Association and also through our career services. We also wanted a greater amount of recognition through our Board of Trustees, Alumni Board, faculty, and staff. This all relates back to why we want to have a strong group of students in our organization. And finally, we wanted to increase our commitment and connections throughout campus. As we have highlighted, to accomplish our goals, we need strong commitment from new and current members. Also, connections with departments throughout our school and also with help from other student organizations can be extremely helpful to accomplish your goals. We can always better our relationship with these people, and it really helps, especially in our school. We have a really strong alumni relations department, and we have gotten a lot done through them, and it has helped us greatly to increase the amount of goals we have successfully accomplished. So that's pretty much the why, and now we'll move on to the how.
The how. So this is basically the key components that we used in our process and transition. So research, resources, proposal, timeline, and then implement. So the first thing is do your research. We did extensive research on why we wanted to go from an open organization to a closed organization, researching if this was going to be the best fit for our organization. And we used the Case ASAP website because they have awesome resources. We compiled applications and evaluation forms, and we were just looking through all of them. And, you know, Case ASAP stands for the Council of Advancement and Support of Education, but we like to say it's copy and steal everything because, you know, everybody has a little bit of something you can take from it. We also looked at our relationship with student and academic affairs, because at Ithaca College, they are a key component into the success of an organization on our campus. As Annalise said, SGA, Career Services, having the connection with them builds our organization up, the recognition of our organization, and we can use them to, organization as a whole needs, and using the students that we have in the organization, making up a proposal and pitching it to them on what we thought was the most important thing and what they thought was the most important thing. We wanted to know what they thought. Did they agree of going from an open organization to a closed organization? Did they think that it was going to help us or not? And also alumni. Use the alumni resources that you have. Get their feedback as well, because those are the ones that you're working with. You want to build that connection up with them. So then we created our timeline. And when we created our timeline, we started at the bottom. We started at April 16th, and that was our e-board elections. And we wanted to make sure that the students that we were accepting into our organization would have the opportunity to participate in our e-board elections, because we feel as though the new members should be able to choose who's going to be running their organization next year. So we wanted to figure out how long we wanted them to be in the organization before attending or doing the e-board elections. And then we just went through all the key components to what we thought we needed in our organization. And so you guys can kind of just look at it. If you have any questions, please let me know. The first thing that we did was the nominations, and the nominations that we did were through emails to deans and advisors, along with our intercom service, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday email service to all the students, faculty, and staff on our campus. We asked faculty and staff and everybody into the Students Today, Alumni Tomorrow, along with saying that students can self-nominate themselves. Then we sent out emails to those who were nominated or nominated themselves, telling them the next steps in the process to applying to be in STAT, as well as thanking the nominators who nominated the students. Then we had information sessions that the students had to attend in order to apply for our organization. These information sessions, we had 3 sessions spanning throughout different days and times to accommodate all the different student schedules. These sessions are set up so that students understand the mission statement of STAT, understand the requirements and everything that we have. We had 2 to 3 recruitment committee members. That is a committee, that is a subcommittee of the Students Today, Alumni Tomorrow, giving the overview of STAT, along with handing out the applications and the interview. I was like, where's the mouse? So, this was our information session agenda. And so what we wanted students is, we wanted to give them the information that they need statement, along with telling them what STAT does for Ithaca College as a whole, the events that we put on and sponsor, how STAT is beneficial for the student, and what they can gain from being in STAT, as well as what STAT does for the community, events that we've held for different places around. When we had the main Endwell community, we had a Acapella concert that we called Acapella Umbrella, and just kind of giving people a little bit of an incentive on, we do fun things in STAT, that it's an organization that you really want to be a part of, along with the requirements of being in STAT, how we wanted a minimum of a 2.5 GPA, that they had to attend weekly meetings, and serve on one of our committees, along with the participation of at least one event sponsored or hosted by STAT itself. From there, we Also gave them the information sheet that we compiled, just basically overview of everything that we talked about in the information session so that they can take it home with them when they're applying for STAT, along with our committee description sheet. Then we handed them our application. And this we did through a paper copy application because it is our first year with the application process. We didn't want to finalize anything and put it online. This way we can, make it a little bit more personal and start it out and evaluate it from there. One of the key pieces for us in our application is the commitment and campus activity section, along with the job description section as well, because we wanted to know how involved these students are, especially first-year students, if they were involved in high school, what did they do, because we are telling them to include their high school things to see what they did do while they were in high school. But along with that, seeing how committed they will be to STAT. Are they, working 20 hours a week and not going to really be able to put in the effort that they need to of students today? Questions that we thought were relevant to STAT as an organization and what we wanted to focus on. For us, tradition is a big part of our campus and our organization, and we really wanted to know what tradition meant to the students. Just the open-ended questions that are mostly on applications in general, but we wanted to gear specifically towards what's important for STAT as an organization. And then we had our committee selection sheet, just their top 3 committees that they would want to be a part of. They got the description, and this is a way for us to organize the applicants and put in where we thought was needed in our organization, along with them saying that we are going to review their judicial and academic records. At the end of our information sessions, we then had students sign up for interviews. During our interview setup process, we kind of chunked out days. So we had a day where it was from 9 until 9 at night, and we had a sign-up sheet for our current students today, our STAT members, and we had them sign up for 3 time slots for each member, and we wanted to have 2 STAT members per interview session. So once we had a list of all the time slots that had 2 STAT members, we condensed the list into the time slots that we could have candidates sign up for. So we had a finalized interview sign-up sheet that we had at the information sessions for the students to sign up on. They gave us their name and their phone number, because what we did was it was based on the interviewer's schedule on where they were going to be able to meet. So they just, text or a phone call to the candidate saying, alrighty, we're going to meet, in this room or in the pub or whatever, just so that it's, putting a little bit of a responsibility to the interviewer and making the STAT members feel a little bit more involved. So this is the evaluation sheet that we used for our interviews. Very similar to the application. We just kind of wanted to see what they were bringing to the organization as a whole. We asked about fundraising and experiences and implementing things, but we understand that these students, most of them are first year and sophomores, and they might not have per se these experiences, but getting a sense of that they're willing to learn and they're going to be able to learn how to fundraise an event or be flexible on implementing event with other people and being able to work with others, which was a very key component for us. Another thing that I personally liked that was a question was where STAT falls as a commitment, because there are a lot of people, all of our applications had tons and tons of committees and other events that people were a part of, but this question was where they can really explain themselves and say, well, yes, I'm working 15 hours a week, but when I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it and do it with the best that I can do. And so it might be where somebody can, take 15 hours of work and be a part of STAT and do it all at the same time, which I thought was a good question. Then at the end, our 2 interviewers kind of talked about each of the candidates, said the good qualities, the concerns that they had, and any additional information that we thought would be for new members, and then whether or not they would recommend this candidate as membership into STAT. So then we go back to here. Oh, I already did that. Selection. So then we have the recruitment committee. We all come together and we have all of the applications and interview evaluations together. And what we do is everybody takes some applications and interviews, and we tried to take the interviewers in the committee that actually interviewed the student, so that they were the ones that interacted with them. They know their strengths and weaknesses just based on the conversations that they had. And then if we had people who hadn't, we just kind of split it up throughout the group. We reviewed all of them. We kind of talked about everything, the strengths, the weaknesses, what we thought each one would bring to the table into STAT. Then we kind of went round robin and did the yay, nay kind of a thing. And once we had that kind of a whole set of who we thought we wanted to accept and who we didn't, we decided we do the judicial and academic review then, so we don't have as many that we're doing. We kind of have our chunk that we think would be a good addition to STAT, and then we'll put them through the judicial and academic review, because those are the group that we feel is the best suited for STAT, instead of wasting our time going through an extensive amount of applications and doing the reviews. And then after that, we're forming emails as we speak of our new members on telling them whether they're accepted or not into our organization, and giving them a brief about when their next meeting is, or where their first meeting is going to be, when they're expected to be there. And we're hoping to have a new member day that's going to hopefully be in April. We're hoping to bring back STAT alumni for this celebration, because we want new members to talk to the alumni, that how STAT helped them, how STAT has impacted them and made their experience when they graduate better. What connections did they make in STAT? Just to really get them to be excited that they've been accepted into this organization and feel like they made an appropriate decision to apply for STAT. And then there's a contract signing that we kind of want to do, but we don't really have a contract right now. We're kind of, in the works of that. But if anybody has any contracts that they, want to share, we can copy and steal everything from. That would be awesome. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we're hopefully just kind of having a contract signing to make it feel official, that, I applied to this organization. I interviewed, I was accepted, I'm signing this contract, I'm a part of something. And I think that's really what STAT wants to do, is make students feel like they're a part of things, feel like they're involved, and that they're actually doing something good on our campus, and that they're able to make a difference. So, is this right for your organization?
So now we just want to ask you guys some questions to make sure that you're getting the most out of this presentation, making it relevant for your organization. So first of all, I just want to ask, are all your organizations open right now? Does anyone have closed organizations? You're closed? You're closed? So is there anything that did you go through the process recently, or has it been closed for a while?
My joint part is closed.
Okay.
But transitioning our organization to, the Reslife membership a little bit more. We're a bit better at that, and maybe not necessarily being open, but more lenient, I guess, in our application process.
Well, we personally this is our first round, but we had about 9 to 10 applicants.
Yep.
And we only rejected one. but it was for like nothing, it was for like judicial and academic reasons. It wasn't because their application wasn't good enough or anything like that. So we tried to stay as open as possible, just so that, because we want to broaden our organization, so staying as open as possible was really helpful.
And for our organization, we are not small, but a relatively smaller organization, so we don't have necessarily the restriction on, we did not have to deny anybody in this chunk of applicants because we are trying to build our numbers, but we are trying to build it in a more prestigious way. And so for us, we don't have to worry about members.
3 members, okay. So then about 3 people on each committee, where do people sit on different, like multiple committees?
Yeah.
It mostly depends on, from what I've seen, what we need at the time. Like if we have an event coming up, there seems to be more people working on like engagement and external affairs or internal affairs, and more when we need it, but we do have people specifically in each committee so that there's always a base no matter what we're doing.
And then within the closed organization, do you then also have, do you have, like those titles, like the committee chair, or,
Yeah.
okay, and I may have missed that, I came in like a minute
You're-
late.
No.
Yeah, we have our e-board that is predominantly the chair of different sections. So the social media and the PR and everything, that's under the, our advertising.
There's Sam Gibbles.
She's the social media.
We have Vice President of External Affairs.
Yeah, and she's kind of the chair of, a certain number of committees here. It's just easier to, so for the public relations and the social media, they're under one, e-board member. Then the budget and the fundraising is under the treasurer. And so we kind of have, each committee is underneath and run by one of our e-board members.
And
But then, go
a
ahead.
lot of them intertwine and like work together, like the fundraising and budget committee, that's kind of just one committee that works together.
I'm Lynn, I'm the group's advisor. One of the things that we're really going to work towards too is that, as Sophie said, the different committees are under the e-board members, but ultimately our goal is to have members be the chair of those
Yeah.
committees. So this is all pretty new to us. Encourage you to go to our session after lunch too, because it talks a little bit more about how we've developed as an organization over the last 4 or 5 years. But back to your question too about, the elitist, I think we talked about that being a concern.
Yep.
But one of the things that we've done too is we do a lot of partnering for ProGrader to being seen as we're the collaborators. We're the ones, we want to support what you're doing. We want to, it doesn't always have to be our idea. If it's something that progresses our mission, then by all means, you guys
Yeah,
agree that's
absolutely.
one thing that
Definitely.
Yeah, and so that kind of leads into the next question. We talked about like strengthening those relationships, and we were just wondering if you guys have any ideas of like how you could do that, strengthening your academic student relationships to both your student body, your alumni, and like if you have a student government association or your career services office or anything like that, if you have any ideas that you'd like to share with us.
Do you guys feel as though you have a strong relationship with your student affairs, or do you work with them as, an organization?
Well, we try to recruit from those groups.
Okay.
As well. So, I know, for example, our tour guides, we always have a couple of tour guides in our group. I think it might be a common, like,
Yeah.
But we try to be strategic. But then the problem that we then face because of it is we end up having students who are so busy or maybe overcommitted.
Yeah.
And it's tough to get people to prioritize this organization. And that's a big struggle for us.
Yeah, for us, our relationships are with, the organization as a whole, and not necessarily having one person in our organization that's also in another organization. We just want to be the name that, okay, so Career Services is putting on a networking event. Oh, let's have STAT help us, and so we'll help run with Career Services kind of a thing, and not necessarily, recruiting from Career Services. Definitely, by all means, recruit from your other organizations that you work with, but, build the relationship with the organization as a whole, because that's where you're going to benefit the most, because then you can work with them as you progress as an organization, and, when students move on and, graduate, you don't have that break in the connection because it's only from a student's perspective.
And I have another thing to add on. One thing I really like about STAT, as I am a first year, as I said, is that when you go in, they have a game plan every week, and now I'm on the e-board. So we have a game plan every week, and there's an agenda for the e-board meeting, for the regular meeting. There's an agenda for everything, and it really helps us stay on track, but we still have a lot of fun at all of our meetings because the e-board works before, and we really narrow down what we want to do, so the people in our organization still have a say in everything. But we know just about what we want to do, so we get a lot done, and you don't feel like you're wasting your meetings. You always feel like you're going to accomplish something, and I really like that.
But what you were saying about that, it goes back to the last question that we asked on the application, where does STAT fall? Because we also we were going through all the applications and seeing, wow, this person's really busy, are they actually going to have time for STAT? So it was also about how enthusiastic they are about STAT, and are they really going to prioritize STAT first, and then all their other things come after STAT, or maybe not first, but somewhere up top. So that's why that question was also pretty important, I think.
Anybody else have anything about their student affairs, or any questions about building relationships with academic and student affairs?
Can you guys give some examples of the organizations we've worked with? Because, it's obviously going to be different from campus to campus, but that might offer some ideas to folks about the types of organizations that we partner with in their programming to build those relationships.
Well, one of the actually new things we were just brought was from Reslife, and they are doing a first year moving up day, that's what they call it, and now they're turning it into a semi-formal, and they actually came to STAT to ask for our ideas and also to ask if we wanted to volunteer in some way, which we definitely want to do, to get involved with Reslife, and we're trying to figure out exactly where it fits so it is still within our mission and within our goals and helping us get our name out there and do what we want to do, but we're also connecting with Reslife, helping out with that, and it's getting in touch with underclassmen, which can be really helpful in the future.
Yes.
That's one of the things.
Career Services, as I said, we do a lot with Career Services. We have etiquette dinners that we help to host. We have networking nights. Senior class events. We work with senior class as a whole. We have a whole senior class committee, and we work with them to host different events.
We just did, for Philanthropy Day, we just had it was free ice cream event where you come and personally thank new donors to the school, handwritten card, and then you would bring it up and get ice cream. So we worked with SGA with that one. We also partnered, we partnered with Mr. and Mrs. Ithaca. So they were there, they were scoopers, they were professors of scoopers. The president was there scooping. So we really got a wide range of campus on that event.
And another thing with that was we brought in some people are oh, STAT and Acapella groups, that doesn't go together. But yes, we do.
Yeah.
So
the
it's just
Acapella
reaching
umbrella,
out. Yeah.
we worked with them for that, and we raised a ton of money and canned goods through having the Acapella umbrella and having all three of our Acapella groups and working very closely with them, because a lot of them are a big name. Ithaca College on our campus is a pretty big name. People know who they are, whenever they are going to be singing at an event. There are the gaggling girls that will follow them around, that will come to our events. Or boys, as Lynn would say. Do you have anything?
Mission thing, but.
Do you guys, do you want to go?
Well, Annalise talked about our mission statement being an important part of like making the events and figuring out what relationships we want to develop more and what we want to do. So first of all, do you guys all have mission statements for your organizations? And do you feel like everyone in your group knows your mission statement? Because that was one thing we talked about, was our mission statement's pretty long. So we talked about compacting it to make it easier to like remember, so that everyone like understands what our mission statement is. So you're like smiling and nodding. Is yours the same?
It's probably like.
Yeah. We put it on a PowerPoint and it took up like half the PowerPoint. So
Our mission statement is
We say it at the
this-ish.
beginning, and then everyone just kind of, nah.
So going towards it, does anybody feel like they have a relatively strong mission statement that their organization has come to, that is compacted, that is, straight to the point, that they, feel like they have? Or do you guys feel as though you need to work on your mission statement in order to better your organization and get a real feel for who you are as an organization, and then in turn to, plug it to the student body in order to get them to your organization?
Well, and also use it as a guideline so you're not getting too broad with everything you do, because when you're working with this many people, it's like hard, because like Reslife comes to us and they want our help, but it might organization. So yeah, does anyone have any like examples of their mission statements or?
Both ours, we the session to just like bridging the gap between students and alumni.
Yeah.
And we just focus on those little key slogans so that people can easily remember that and know what to work with.
Awesome, that's good.
Ours is relatively short. We just have 4 basics, like to work for the betterment of the student body and the enrichment of alumni relations at Millersville, to involve alumni and students in continuing relationship with the university, to create a sincere, positive feeling for undergrads concerning the university, and then to promote a better understanding between alumni and students. So it's very basic, but from there we can build out from it. But I always really like the idea of slogans. I think that's much easier for people to kind of grab onto, and then you need things underneath that, which is where we're kind of working now.
And slogans
which makes it like this.
Yeah, and slogans are so much more marketable and, able to, put it out there to kind of get the, oh, that's cool, and then kind of go towards something different.
Right, because you do need this.
Yeah.
To be effective, you need to have that worded in a way, but slogans really get the point across.
Definitely.
And I really like how you said this sincere and positive understanding with underclassmen. I think that's really important to all student and alumni organizations, even if you don't say it, but I think that's a great point.
I mean, for us, I think that we wanted to market a lot towards first year and like second year students, because they're the ones that can grow in the organization. They're going to hopefully be there for 2-3 years. They can be the ones that have that, idea, and they're going to be there for a time where they can actually feasibly accomplish that and implement what they, want to do. And with our application and interview process this first time, we had predominantly first year and second year students, and we had 1 or 2 juniors. Because we are doing this in the spring, we didn't want any seniors because they're only going to be in the organization for a month, So, but it is, key to have the older, students, because they are going to benefit from the alumni, connections. But we want to start building those connections as a first year student, because then they can, continue to build them as they go through college, and, really have a key to, especially our organization as a whole, getting them to start at right off the bat kind of a thing, and not joining later on in their college career.
You're talking about like doing a lot of collaborative events and also having your own events. Have you found that sometimes it becomes overbearing, or do you feel like you're saying no a lot to some people, or do you switch to anything?
I don't think we say no very
often.
much, because we have a good group of students who are obviously almost easier to put on because you have more bodies and more people working. So I don't think it's ever really a problem for us per se.
I think what's really interesting is if we ever get to the point where we have to say no, I always tell these guys, like, I'll be doing backflips down the, if we get to that point.
Yeah.
And I could certainly see, given what they've done thus far, getting to that. But I also think one of the things that the group has done is they come involved with some signature events. So, AMA and Career Services, our Student American Marketing Association, the etiquette there. SGA and Spirit Week for things around Alumni Weekend. Philanthropy Day is their event that they've encouraged others to collaborate with.
And I think that also goes with numbers. Being able to collaborate with other organizations boosts the numbers for the events that you're hosting, rather than just having that small, one singular name on an event. Because we're not as well known as we're a well-known organization, but not as well known as SGA and Career Certs and everything like that. So having those names on the posters and everything, it draws from all over campus rather than just the people who know what STAT is or what SGA is. And so it's combining those two groups together, and so it's definitely boosting the numbers that go to all the different events that we host.
Well, and 40 members is a lot of manpower also. Like, if you don't mind me asking, how big is your?
35.
Okay, so you have pretty big too, but you were talking about turning people down, and if you, I'm not whatever, but we want to broaden because it gives us opportunity to say yes to more things, to be able to back up what we say and do what we actually want to do. So maybe that could be an option.
And then at the same time, we want to have it so that students still feel as though they're being involved in an organization. We don't want the organization to be that organization where I'm not doing anything, I'm not being productive at all. That's why we have the committees that we have, so that students can narrow in on a particular area that they're either interested in or want to learn more about. The spirit, the recognition, all of those different things, so that they're always feeling like they're doing something in our organization rather than just attending the meetings. Pass around a sign sheet that is just your name and your email if you want me to send you more information, our application, everything like that. Please feel free to write your name and your email address so that we can do that for you. But other than that, thank you guys for coming. If you have any other questions that you want to talk to us individually about, please feel free to come on up and discuss that with us. But thank you.